I mean, I've read a lot, and I've searched a lot, and I mean, I've read plenty of things that say it's not okay to be gay. You know, the Bible says this, that, and the other thing, and you're wrong. And the only choice you have is to try and change yourself and manipulate yourself into some sort of heterosexual lifestyle, or to be celibate and alone. So that was, and then I've also read things that say it's okay to be gay, and you know, this is different interpretations, and this is a different way of looking at these things, and I've heard theological arguments on both sides, and both think the other side is wrong, and I don't know. I don't know. Like, honestly, it's been really hard.
We had a visiting minister who had been a former assistant to the president at the General Conference and had traveled all over the world, who came in and preached that day. And I did not realize that. I just took Jill to church. But I knew that it wasn't the normal church thing when I walked in and all of the chairs were in a big circle, two chairs deep, because that wasn't our normal setup. But I figured, oh well, they must be doing something special today. So we picked a chair on the second row, and
as far back as we could go.
And we sat down, and all of a sudden it must have clicked for this gentleman who I was. And he stopped his sermon dead in the middle, walked down, stood right in front of the two of us, and started preaching on the evils of homosexuality. This is the first time I had taken Jill to church.
There was this youth pastor in the conference. He was great. He was this great preacher. He did big, nice, very nice youth programs, and I became his fan. He was amazing. He had been a missionary and everything, so he had all these stories. And once I went to the conference and I asked to talk to him, and I told him, you know, the feelings and everything that I was going through and what I was feeling, and I asked him, is that going to pass? He didn't say a word. He just shook his hand. And that was like a death sentence. I felt like, wow, I'm cursed.
When the pastor preached a sermon about Sodom and Gomorrah and charged against homosexuals, about those things that were happening, thinking probably that there was probably nobody in his congregation who was gay. Typical assumption. I felt affected by those sermons.
When I sit in a service and hear gays, awful things said about gays, it makes me incredibly upset, because they are talking about now not only my son, but a whole host of other people that I know that are gay and lesbian, and other parents that might be sitting there, or family members that are going to be hurt by it. And that's probably the hardest part, simply that my son being gay has really made me look at my church in a different way. I wonder, where is the love thy neighbor, and the person that needs you the most or needs to be loved the most, that we can reject these people so easily and comfortably. It tears really at the fiber of my relationship with my church.
Church closed the door to me. The church said, go away. We don't want you here. My response is, I'm not going anywhere. I am a Seventh-day Adventist church member. I'm proud to be. I am not in Brazil, but in the church, in the Seventh-day Adventist church, it doesn't matter who you are. You are a member. If you are in the US, in Brazil, or in Tokyo, you are a Seventh-day Adventist member. And I am. And I will keep being, because that's who I am.